talk about the fact that there are now 4 of you here, where there has always been 5 because Zayn Malik has left the band. Touch with him? Have you spoken to him?
I mean, there's been a bit of back and forth. I think, you know, we're on good terms with him.
There was obviously underlying issues like within our friendships too. We'd been together every day for 5 years and we'd got sick of each other, if we're being completely honest.
Let's be real. When it comes to boy bands, it hasn't always been just about the music. Time and time again, scandals and allegations have surfaced, shaking the glossy image of our favorite groups. Some stories barely made the headlines, while others dominated every blog and news outlet. From abusive managers to substance abuse and everything in between, the 90s and early 2000s were full of drama that threatened to tear these bands apart.
Put the group together, and then he went to Lou Pearlman and said, hey, would you support us? You know, I put a band together, and Lou said, yeah, I would put money in you guys. And so he signed us to the Transcontinental record deal. He was our manager, and in his contracts, he puts himself as the 6th member of all his groups.
Yeah.
And the way he sold it to us was like, if I'm the 6th member of your group, you don't have to pay a lawyer, you don't have to pay a management fee, you don't have to pay me as the record, you know, label. I will cover all of that. But that
you just give me all of your
all
money.
a lie. Yeah, it's like, so basically he took 90% of everything. And we had been working for 3 years and not gotten paid a dime.
Wait.
The group was making hundreds of millions of dollars.
But here's the big question. Were these scandals real or just myths blown out of proportion? We're about to peel back the curtain and uncover the truth. And trust me, some of it will leave you stunned. First up is Joe Jackson's parenting of the Jackson 5. A story is dark as it is unforgettable. Joe was praised for molding his children into music legends from an early age, but behind the glitter and the spotlight, whispers of his strict and punishing methods followed him everywhere. Michael Jackson himself revealed the painful truth, claiming he endured years of physical, verbal, and emotional torment at the hands of his father.
How often would he beat you? Too much. Would he only use a belt?
And when those allegations resurfaced after Michael's death, Joe didn't back down. He denied nothing. Instead, he justified his actions, insisting his methods were nothing unusual for the time. His words still echo.
There's a lot of people in America, Larry. A lot of people in America spank the kids, you know. If they say they don't, they're lying.
Though Michael eventually reconciled with his father, the scars ran deep. Their relationship, always strained, always complicated, remained one of the most haunting parts of the Jackson legacy. Next up is Robbie Williams and the demons that nearly destroyed him. In 1995, at the height of Take That's fame, Robbie shocked the world when he walked away. The official story? Creative differences. The real story? Much darker. Behind the polished performances, Robbie was spiraling, struggling with depression and a substance use disorder that threatened to consume him.
And then you drink too much, and I did too many drugs.
And it becomes...
And then that all gets taken away from you.
He later admitted how lost he felt, saying, I used to see things, people talking about it on the TV 10, 15 years ago, and you know, pull your pants up, get on with it. What have they got to be sad about? And I just felt more and more isolated. I thought there was something wrong with me. On stage, he wore the mask of a superstar, but backstage, the reality was terrifying. The night before Take That's 1994 EMA performance, Robbie came dangerously close to overdosing. He could have died before ever reaching his prime. It took years of chaos, near misses, and a lifeline from Elton John before Robbie finally found the help he needed.
Elton John played a part in helping you get away from that lifestyle, didn't he?
Yes, yeah, he did. He really tried to help.
Slowly, his health and his career began to recover. And in 2010, against all odds, he reunited with Take That.
I haven't had a drink for 19 years.
Wow.
Thank you.
But the scars of that battle never truly faded. Next up, Purity Rings and the Jonas Brothers. In the late 2000s, the Joe Bros were everywhere. Camp rock,
This is our song, that's all that matters, 'cause we
hit singles, sold out arenas. But their biggest headline wasn't a song, it was a symbol. A small piece of jewelry that turned into a national obsession. Their purity rings.
I think for us, you know, it's about just taking all of us one step at a time.
The brothers promised to stay abstinent until marriage, but soon the rings overshadowed the music. Nick later admitted it was not who we were. It was just something that we did when we were young kids, but we wore the rings through the first bit of the band starting to explode. At that point, it was already too late because it was in the media. The public ate it up. Interview after interview, the rings became the only question that mattered. Even South Park mocked them, showing Mickey Mouse beating the brothers for daring to take them off. Brutal parody, but not far from the pressure they really faced.
Why were they a bad idea?
Well, in theory, they're not a bad idea, but you should know what you're signing up for before you sign up for that.
Eventually, the rings came off quietly. No scandal, no headlines. Just three brothers trying to reclaim their privacy. But the frenzy proved one thing. Fans were far too invested in the Jonas Brothers' personal choices.
Just remind me, how did you declare that you were done with the purity ring?
It just sort of happened.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about Nick Carter, Backstreet Boys' golden boy with a dark secret.
If I could have just one kiss.
Behind the boy next door smile was a storm. Nick admitted the truth years later, saying,
It is definitely easy to fall into drugs, especially when you come from a family of drugs and alcohol. I was probably 15 or 16 when I started smoking.
The spotlight was blinding. The endless tours, the late nights, and his high-profile romance with Paris Hilton. Soon, the lifestyle nearly consumed him. Then came a wake-up call. Nick discovered he had a heart condition. Looking in the mirror, he realized, I don't want to be that person you turn on the television for, and they're saying, oh, we feel really bad because he died.
When you look in the mirror, and you're doing things and you're seeing that you don't look healthy.
But while he fought to get clean, the Backstreet Boys were hit with another blow, betrayal. Their own producer, Lou Pearlman, siphoned millions from the band, leaving them to face not just personal demons, but financial ruin. They survived, but Nick's battle and the scars it left became part of the band's story forever. Up next, Zayn Malik's shocking exit from One Direction. Does it ever drive you crazy how fast the night changes? One moment, Zayn Malik was smiling on stage, seemingly at home in the world's biggest boy band. The next, millions of fans had their hearts shattered. Out of nowhere, he was gone. Just hours after the announcement, Zayn addressed the band's nearly 37 million Facebook followers. I have to do what feels right in my heart. I want to be a normal 22-year-old who's able to relax and have private time out of the spotlight.
So I knew something was happening. So I just got ahead of the curve. If I'm being honest with you, I was like, I'm just going to get out of here. I think this is done.
But that wasn't the end. In the months that followed, Zayn began taking subtle jabs at the band's musical direction. Soon, things spilled onto Twitter with very public arguments between former bandmates. Over time, the tension cooled.
There's a thing on Twitter, but have you...
I know. I've never been one... I've never been very good at biting my tongue.
Only to ignite again in 2022 when Liam Payne made cutting remarks about him on Logan Paul's podcast.
Zayn had a different upbringing in that sense, and you can always look at the man for where he is and say, oh yeah, whatever, that guy's a dick, right?
The question remains, will the One Direction fan base ever know peace? Next up, Kwan Jean's exit from N-Flying. In 2018, the rising K-pop bassist faced a storm. Allegations surfaced that he had acted inappropriately with fans. Kwan denied everything and even threatened legal action, but the scandal wouldn't die down. In the end, he had no choice but to walk away. To this day, he maintains that any interactions with fans outside of official activities were strictly platonic. Years later, in 2021, he revealed he had proof the accusations were fabricated. Still, vindication didn't erase the damage. Kwan has yet to return to N-Flying, his career forever altered by a storm of controversy. And then there's Menudo, where fame and scandal collide. This Puerto Rican boy band produced global stars like Ricky Martin, but behind the glittering success lay dark shadows. Nearly 40 members passed through the group, some forced out for reasons that bordered on absurdity. One member, Rai Reyes, claimed he was dropped simply because he grew too tall. But the darkest allegations surrounded their manager, Edgardo Diaz. Over the years, several former members accused him of abuse.
When I woke up, I was naked. and it was bleeding, so I knew that I had been penetrated.
In the documentary Menudo, Forever Young, survivors came forward with chilling stories. One member explained, "The reason why I did it is because I really believe that each one of our experiences serves as a historic lesson of how to work with children, how not to work with children." Behind the catchy songs and choreographed smiles, Menudo cherished secrets that would haunt its legacy forever. Next up, Seungri's Burning Sun scandal, the darkest chapter in Big Bang's legacy.
Where are you from?
When Lee Seung-hyun, better known as Seungri, was arrested, it nearly tore open the foundation of K-pop itself. In 2018, Seungri helped open the Burning Sun nightclub, but by early 2019, horrifying reports surfaced. Victims, employees, and witnesses painted a picture of a venue where women were harassed, assaulted, secretly filmed, and exploited. The stories were graphic. The abuse was widespread, and the violence was impossible to ignore. Seungri's name appeared again and again, tied to gambling, shady business deals, and other crimes. By 2022, he was sentenced to 18 months in prison. But long before the verdict, Seungri had already announced his retirement from music and his departure from Big Bang. For fans, the scandal was more than a fall from grace. It was a brutal reminder of how dark the entertainment industry could become.
Up next, NSYNC's Financial Nightmare. They sang about payday, but when NSYNC finally got theirs, reality hit like a gut punch.
The checks were pitiful, the money gone. Most of it had disappeared into the pockets of their manager, Lou Pearlman. Pearlman pitched himself as a band's sixth member, promising it would save them cash. In truth, he was bleeding them dry, buying mansions, flying private, and launching shady business ventures, all while the band barely scraped by.
We were famous, but we were not rich. I made way more money after NSYNC than I did during NSYNC. He really took majority of all of our stuff.
Years later, the truth unraveled. Pearlman wasn't just mismanaging money. He was running one of the largest Ponzi schemes in American history. Convicted in 2008, he was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison, where he died in 2016. And finally, the darkest cloud of all, Lou Pearlman's predatory behavior. The mogul who built the boy band empire was hiding disturbing secrets.
NSYNC's Lance Bass once called him creepy, recalling how Pearlman disguised inappropriate touching as physical therapy.
Old Town's Ashley Parker Angel spoke of an unsettling massage. And in 2009, Rich Cronin of LFO claimed on the Howard Stern show that Pearlman offered his group fame in exchange for sexual favors.
That what Pearlman did with Nick Carter was, quote, definitely inappropriate. Nick's mom wouldn't get into specifics, but she said certain things happened and it almost destroyed our family.
No charges were ever filed, but the sheer weight of accusations left a permanent stain on his legacy. For the young stars who trusted him, Pearlman wasn't just the man who controlled their money, he was a shadow that haunted their careers. At the end of it all, one thing's certain. These scandals didn't just make headlines, they owned the spotlight. They had the media buzzing then, and they still have people talking now. So tell us, which one shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments.